Hello YouTube friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now that the 210-gallon aquarium is finally put together and running smoothly and dialed in, I thought I would share with you the component parts, the things that you see and the things that you don't see that keep this tank running and providing a healthy environment for the fish. Let's start at the top, and here we have lighting. 3 separate full spectrum LED units that were provided to me by my friends over at JCMP Aquarium Products. And once I understood how to dial these in and how to use the percentage lighting that is available as a feature on these lights, I've really come to like them a lot. The aquarium is covered entirely in glass with a glass lid and is being filtered by a drilled overflow box. This is a Synergy Shadow V2, and it has what is called a bean animal overflow system in here with a primary. You can see there the primary on the right, the secondary, and an emergency overflow, making it almost impossible for this system to clog up. 1.5-inch pipes go down into the sump that have unions. Each one has a union that makes separating the unit very easy, and then it goes down and into a do-it-yourself 29-gallon aquarium that I turned into a sump. The whole thing is fine-tuned and dialed in with this gate valve that is on the primary, and that allows you to really control the flow easily. The water returns to the tank after being filtered in the sump through this one-way valve that prevents a back siphon should the pump stop working. And it goes ahead and is a simple hook and blade return system. Nothing fancy. You can see it here. And of course, at 2,500 gallons per hour, it's creating a lot of water flow, along with, on the opposite side, a wave maker made by a company called Sour. I think it's pronounced that way, and it is very powerful, 2,500 gallons an hour. You can see how it bends over these plants from Elite Cichlids. And it does have some nice control features that allow you to control how it flows, the rhythm and the way it flows, how strong it flows. You can even shut it off for about 10 minutes during feeding. The decor is some caves by Underwater Galleries, some plants, as I mentioned, by Elite Cichlids, also some rocks that were sent to me by JCMP, and a lot of aragonite substrate. And you can see here under the tank where the plumbing goes into the sump. You have 4-inch wide and 14-inch long socks that are pre-filtering the water as it goes into the sump. Those are swapped out each week, cleaned and replaced. Then you have a wall of sponges. There's some Swiss Tropicals porate sponges there, matin sponges. Very, very effective. Great home for beneficial bacteria. At the end of the chamber there's a very powerful heater. Believe it or not, that small heater is about 900 watts. I'll get into that in a second. Then I have a sponge here at the bottom of this middle compartment that really stops all the bubbles from getting over to the filter, or rather over to the pump. That's a Cichlid pump from Italy. Very quiet, very powerful. Pumps out 2,500 gallons an hour, as I mentioned earlier. So it's moving a lot of water. As the water cascades, you can see it creates bubbles. That sponge gets them out. The reason that heater is able to have so many watts and yet be so small is because the guts of it are in this controller. It's made by Haiger. It's currently off because this isn't really a controller at all. Just really the guts of what would normally be inside the heater are put outside by Haiger. That allows them to provide you a very powerful heater in a small case. The actual controller is here. And so that's where the unit is plugged into, and because the tank is at the target temperature of 80 degrees, it has shut off the electricity, the juice, and this really prevents a heater from overheating your tank, which sometimes it'll do that. Filtration is also backed up with a Fluval FX6, which is sitting in a bin just in case there's a leak. You can see the FX6 here. It's rated well over 500 gallons per hour. It's a very powerful canister. And you can see here that the outputs are in the right corner of the tank. One is facing up to break up the surface for oxygen production, right? And another one is creating circulation. There is an alarm, a sensor in that bin, so if there was a leak from the canister, I would hear an alarm go off. The intake of the Fluval does have a coarse sponge. I drilled some holes in the intake pipe and just slipped this like a sleeve right over the pipe, and the suction just holds it in place. It's a coarse sponge from Aquarium Co-op. You can buy these large pre-filters, and it allows me to go for longer periods of time between when I have to service that canister. So that is the sort of behind the scenes and guts of what's keeping this tank looking good. And you can see the fish are all colorful and active. They're eating like crazy and growing well, and I'm very happy with this setup. Certainly if you have any comments or ideas or tips, share them below. I'd love to hear them. You know, I'm always learning. But I'm enjoying this quite a bit, and I will be adding more fish very shortly, so stay tuned for that. If you care to support the channel, consider joining the Garage Gang. All you have to do is hit that icon, the Patreon icon. You can see it at the bottom right of the channel banner, and tap on that, and that'll take you to my Patreon page, and you can be a monthly Garage Gang member. Also, I hope to see you on Saturday at the Cichlids and Coffee live stream. We'll get into all types of topics related to fish keeping, from filtration to substrate to fish profiles, and really we just get into a lot of stuff because it's live and I get to answer your questions right there on the spot. It's a lot of fun. Hope to see you there at 11 a.m. Central Time. That's noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you. Bye-bye.